Hello, everybody. Scott with you here in the record player. As you can see today, we have more than just one guest. We are joined by all four members of 98 Degrees. We've got Justin, Jeff, Drew, and Nick all with us. Welcome to TRP. Thanks so much for spending some time with us today, guys. I know you guys are doing a lot of press, probably a crazy amount of press for the past few weeks.
Our
Appreciate you
pleasure.
Thanks for
having
having
me.
us.
um, I feel like you guys were in Canada for like a month there, solid. It feels like. You guys, Canada's always held a bit of a special place in your hearts, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
so. It's one of the first places we really realized success early in our career. I think back in the summer of '97, we'd had Invisible Man out in the States, but we didn't really get as much traction as we would have liked with that. So coming to Canada and really starting to promote there and finding the passion of the fans for our music there, that momentum really kind of carried us over back into the States. And so we have an incredible fondness for for Canada and for our Canadian fans, and always enjoy having an opportunity to come back and perform there and see all our fans in Canada.
It's funny because I mean, I'm not. You guys aren't much younger than me. I'm a little older than you guys, but not by much. We're all hitting that age. I remember back in the day when you guys first started out. The thing that always struck me was that it seemed to the fans of in that era were very loyal and very territorial, I guess you could say. It always felt like if you were a Backstreet Boys fan, you couldn't be an NSYNC fan. If you were an NSYNC fan, you couldn't be a Backstreet Boys fan. And then there was you guys who were kind of in the middle, and everybody loved 98 Degrees. There was no you can't like them.
yeah.
Well, we
I,
always
I
thought about.
think.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think for us there was a lot of similarities between NSYNC and Backstreet Boys as far as their label, management, kind of how they were kind of brought together. So I feel like for them there was almost like yes, there was very territorial between those fans. I feel like we were kind of the ones that were like, you could like NSYNC and 98 Degrees, you like Backstreet and 98 Degrees, because I felt like we were different. We weren't exactly kind of cut from the same cloth. We weren't Orlando, we weren't Transcon, we weren't Jive, we weren't, we were Motown. We're from Ohio. We put ourselves together. They're great dancers. We're performers. So I think for us there were a lot of things that we pride ourselves on that weren't necessarily in that same vein. Even though we love both those groups, we felt like we were always a little bit different.
I'll go down to Justin down on the bottom there. You guys always seem to have a different sound. I mean, you mentioned there that you wrote your own songs. You did a lot of stuff on your own. You didn't seem quite as manufactured. You guys had a different sound, more of an R&B feel, more of a you're working with people like Babyface and stuff down back in the day. So, is that what made you guys stand out?
Well, I think when we came out, it was a different time in music. If you're listening to pop radio, it was gangster rap and grunge music, and so it was the music scene was a lot different. I mean, when I think of pop of that era, of course, you think Boys to Men and Mariah Carey, and I think we were trying to, shoot for being similar to Boys to Men. I mean, they're our favorite group. They inspired us, and so we did, want to go for a soulful sound, and the harmonies were always our thing. As Drew mentioned, we're not so much dancers like Backstreet and NSYNC, but we've always prided ourselves on our harmonies, our ability to sing a cappella, and I think that is part of what set us apart. All those groups are very talented, but I think we're just a little bit different. Our sound is a little different, and our music, especially in the early days, was a bit more R&B than theirs.
Um, During the heyday, I mean, you guys worked with people like Stevie Wonder, Mariah. You mentioned Mariah Carey. Do you guys each have maybe a memory that stands out that you're like that was our moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think those two clearly. I mean, I think we can all probably agree as a group that in 1998 when we had the great fortune to work with Stevie Wonder, that's a career moment right there. And we were first approached to do the Mulan soundtrack. We weren't told that would be Stevie Wonder. They said, "Oh, we think we're going to put you with a Motown legend, and do a song." And we were like, "Oh, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Smokey or the Temptations or who's it going to be?" And then we went and we recorded, our we recorded all of True to Your Heart just as a group. And then they said, "All right, Stevie Wonder's going to come in." and he's going to play the harmonica on it. And we're like, oh, that's awesome. Well, Stevie playing the harmonica and us just singing is great. And then he heard the song and he liked the song so much and what we had done with it so much that he decided that he wanted to take a verse on it. So for us, that was like Stevie Wonder thinks that we're good enough that he wants to do a song with us, and then everything that followed that, the music video, the doing Jay Leno with him, where he, fought for us to be on the couch with him so that we could get some airtime. That was just, yeah, that was, I definitely, creme de la creme. That was the top of the mountain.
I'll pick out a couple for me anyway that I remember was the Michael Jackson tribute show at MSG. That must have been absolutely incredible. Performing with Luther Vandross and Usher. What was that night like? I mean, because I'm assuming you met Michael and you got to do all that stuff.
We did. It's a
Public.
dream. I mean, not only that, I mean, performing for Michael Jackson, who is an icon, a legend, biggest pop star of all time, but also the celebrities that were there, and then our peers that we were associated with. You mentioned Usher and Luther, and for us to get up on stage, I mean, I can speak for myself. I was extremely, extremely nervous for that whole entire process. But at the same time, you're doing something huge, and Whitney Houston's performing at this thing. Anybody and everybody, the who's who of the industry, was a part of that event. For us to be sort of lumped in with those sorts of stars, gave us some sort of a validation that, in our wildest dreams, although we wanted to be there, we never quite expected to be there in that moment like that. It was like a whirlwind, and sort of kind of buttoned up what was a kind of crazy ride for us for 3 or 4 years.
The other one that sticks out for me, Canadian, of course, is "Ain't the Same" with our own Brett Kissel. How did that come about?
Well, there's a great agent and manager up there that's been in the industry for a long time named Jim Cressman. We were introduced to him through our agent, and he's just a great guy and a huge success. I'm sure you know who he is, and he also manages Brett. And he was kind of pushing for that collaboration. Of course, Brett is a legend in his own respect and had a tremendous amount of success. But the song itself, we fell in love with when we heard it. And so there were a lot of things there that seemed like the obvious. A bunch of great people, a great artist from Canada. We always wanted to do a country song, and certainly we took for our Canadian fans with the Canadians. And so that's how that came about. We were really pleased with how that turned out. It was a lot of fun performing with Brett at the music awards there in Alberta. So it was a great experience for us.
We've had Brett here in the record player, and he's just a solid dude too. He's just a really good guy. So
He is great guy. Great guy.
Someone tell me about the new record. It's Full Circle. It's been out since May. We have, it's almost part brand new record, part greatest hits. Who wants to take this? But tell me about Full Circle and how well it's been doing for you guys.
Well, yeah, Full Circle, I think it's really an appropriate title because it's kind of a nod to where we've been, and the five re-records you just mentioned, obviously the songs that have defined our career to this point, but also look forward to, where we are and where we're going with the five brand new songs. So, as artists, as I mentioned, these songs have defined our career. They're the songs that our fans have come to love us for, and it felt just very inappropriate and wrong that we didn't have control and ownership over those records. So to take the opportunity to go back in and re-record those, and feel like we had that power and that control was a really, really gratifying thing for us. And I think any artist that has that opportunity should take advantage of it. But we're also equally proud of the five brand new songs, which I think kind of really still capture the 98 Degrees sound. I co-wrote one called Got You. Drew co-wrote one. We have three other songs, Tremble, Mona Lisa, and Stranger Things Have Happened. I think that they kind of round out the new material. And yeah, the fan response has been great. I mean, we're super proud of it, of the album in general. But yeah, the fan response to both the re-records and the original songs has been tremendous. So again, shout out to our fans who, to me, quite frank, they're the ones that make this all possible, right? I mean, this is to be sitting here with you and talking about new music and all that stuff. It's not even a reality if our fans don't still come and support. So this is all truly because of them and for them.
You guys didn't even have any reference though. You weren't allowed to even like go back and have the tapes, the original, like nothing. Like you guys re-recorded this from by ear, right?
Yeah. And it was honestly a lot more difficult than we thought it
Oh,
was going to be. Because some of these songs we recorded these right when, Pro Tools and digital was first starting to come along. I mean, some of these things were on 2-inch tape. So for us it was a matter of going back and not only trying to recreate our vocal sound, which has changed, but also trying to get the right compression, the right reverb, the right amount of distortion on the guitars. Every sound we had to just kind of listen to the record and go back and forth. And I mean, Jeff, to his credit, did most of the heavy lifting on that one and sat down and literally went through every nuance of every sound. But it was definitely a challenge, to get them to sound just right, because if there weren't accents that were hit the same way, the fans would know that. They'd be like, "Oh, this doesn't feel the same as what I fell in love with in 1998, 1999." And we wanted to get as close to perfect as possible, because you don't mess with something that people love. You want to keep it as true and as intact as possible.
was there ever a temptation to completely change one of the songs, completely from what it was originally?
No,
I
I
think we
think early
thought
on we
about it for a
decided.
second. Yeah, I mean, I think it was like that would be kind of exciting to kind of reimagine and reinvent one of those songs. But I think, yeah, I think our fans have come to love them as they are. We wanted to give them the version that they've come to love. So, but yeah, at least I can speak for myself. I thought it'd be kind of cool to kind of turn one on its head and do it in a different way. But I think in the end, we made the right call. These are the way that the fans wanted to hear them. Sorry, I'm chasing this damn fly around.
Okay, I
This
noticed
thing's driving me
that.
crazy.
Come on, Danielson.
I need a pair of chopsticks. But yeah, so I think we made the right call in keeping it, to the original form. I think that's what the fans have come to love and what they appreciate about Full Circle.
And there was a remix album,
Right.
yeah, was it 5 years ago, guys? Something like that. So if people want remixes, they're out there too. We got those done. But yeah, these are ones that we want people to just literally be able to put back on and listen like it was back in the late 90s and never know the difference.
You mentioned your voices have changed, as have all of ours, but your bodies have changed too. I mean, clearly, none of us are the age that we were. When you're out on stage now, are you doing? How hard is that? I mean, I think Phil Collins once said that instead of partying in hotels and after show parties, you're doing masseuses and yoga. I mean, how's that been? That aspect of this?
Well, look, to what Drew alluded to earlier, we didn't dance too much. We definitely have choreography in our show. It's high energy, but we've tried to keep up with it. Fortunately for us, we've been active. We've been busy on tour and on the road and keeping up with it. So I don't think it's drastically different than it was several years ago. I think after the show, yeah, we definitely, to Phil Collins's point, can feel it a little bit more, in our bones. But we try to keep up with it, keep ourselves in good shape, and getting to we have to take care of ourselves to give the best performance possible. So we kind of keep that in mind when we get up on stage and when we put these shows together, that we need to have the high energy. So we need to take care of ourselves by eating the right things, working out, etc. So we don't think it's too much different than we were back in the day.
I gotta ask before we head out. Yeah, I'm sure everyone that you've done media with and everything and talked to in the last few weeks has brought up the Love Is Blind with you, Nick. Uh, I'm a 55-year-old grandfather. Love Is Blind is not anywhere near my radar. I will never watch it. No offense. I hope you take no offense to
None taken.
that. But my favorite show and the greatest television show that's ever been on TV is 50 years of SNL. So I've interviewed so many people who have been the musical guest on SNL, but I've never once spoken to someone who hosted SNL. You hosted it. I've always wanted to know, as the biggest fan of that show, is it like what's that experience like from beginning to end? I mean, you're just is it as chaotic and nuts as it seems that it would be?
Yeah, I was, I've done plenty of live TV, thankfully, in my career. We all have, a lot of live performances, but the SNL is just a different, it's a different beast. I mean, you're literally sitting in Lauren's office 10 minutes before you go live, and they're cutting sketches, they're changing sketches. I mean, it's as fly by the seat of your pants as anything that I've ever done, which is, I think the attraction and the rush to it all. So yeah, that's definitely up there as one of the more unique experiences I've had in my career for sure.
Full Circle is the new album. It's out now. 98 Degrees will be in our neck of the woods in Toronto on August 23rd at the CNE Grandstand in Toronto. So look forward to getting you guys there. Thank you so much for hanging out with us in the record player today, taking some time with us. Appreciate it very much.
You really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care, guys.